Have you ever wondered what happened after the Cold War ended? Well, buckle up because we're about to embark on an exciting journey through history. The year was 1989, a year that marked a significant turning point in the annals of history. The Berlin Wall, a literal and metaphorical symbol of division, came crashing down. This wasn't just the fall of a wall, but the crumbling of an ideology. A division that had cleaved the world into two opposing blocks was beginning to wane. Fast forward 2 years to 1991, and we witness another monumental moment, the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The mighty USSR, once a formidable superpower, disintegrated into 15 independent republics. This wasn't just the end of a nation, but the end of the Cold War era. But what did all this mean for the world? The geopolitical implications were profound. The world was transitioning from a bipolar world order, dominated by the United States and the Soviet Union, to a unipolar one. The United States emerged as the sole superpower, unchallenged and unrivaled. The balance of power had shifted. The once formidable Iron Curtain had been lifted, allowing for the expansion of Western liberal democracy. The world was witnessing a wave of globalization driven by the United States. But it wasn't just about power, it was about influence. The United States began to shape international policies and norms. It became the trendsetter, the rule maker, and the global police. It was the dawn of a new era, an era defined by American hegemony. Yet, as we know, power vacuums are rarely left unfilled for long. The dissolution of the Soviet Union also paved the way for new players to step onto the global stage. The geopolitical landscape was changing, and the world was bracing itself for what lay ahead. With the Soviet Union dissolved, the world braced for a new world order. A new era had begun, an era that would redefine the course of history in ways unimaginable. And as we delve deeper into this era, we'll uncover how these shifts have shaped the world we live in today. So stay tuned! In the aftermath of the Cold War, one nation stood tall above the rest. But what did this mean for the world? The United States of America, a nation that emerged not merely unscathed, but triumphant from the ashes of the Cold War. With the collapse of its ideological adversary, the Soviet Union, the US found itself in an unprecedented position, a sole superpower on the global stage. But what did this mean for the world? The international dynamics shifted dramatically. The US, with its economic might and military prowess, began to shape a new world order. It no longer had the Soviet Union to counterbalance its influence. The world had become unipolar, with one superpower dictating the rules of the game. Let's not forget the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. This intergovernmental military alliance between North American and European countries, initially formed as a counterweight to the Soviet bloc, had to reinvent its purpose post-Cold War. Once the Soviet Union dissolved, NATO's raison d'etre seemed obsolete, but instead of disbanding, NATO evolved. It expanded its membership to include former Warsaw Pact countries, further solidifying the US's influence in Europe. Simultaneously, NATO expanded its mandate beyond collective defense. It began intervening in conflicts outside the North Atlantic region, as seen in the Balkans in the 1990s, and Afghanistan post-2001. This evolution of NATO, driven primarily by the US, was a clear manifestation of America's status as the world's sole superpower. The US was now the global policeman, intervening wherever it deemed necessary, often under the banner of promoting democracy and human rights. However, this unipolar world was not without its challenges. The absence of a counterbalancing force led to a new era of geopolitical complexities. But these are stories for another time. The US, now the world's only superpower, had a significant impact on global politics. But as we'll see, the new world order was far from stable, and the legacy of the Cold War still echoes in our current geopolitical landscape. A new world order brought with it new challenges. What were they? As the dust settled after the Cold War, the world was left with a reshuffled deck of geopolitical cards. With the United States standing as the sole superpower, regional powers sought to redefine their positions in this new world order. This struggle for redefinition led to a surge in regional conflicts. One notable example is the Balkan Wars of the 90s, a tragic conflict that revealed how deep-seated ethnic and religious tensions could erupt in the absence of a global power balance. Yet regional conflicts were not the only challenges that emerged. the end of the Cold War also saw the rise of a new, elusive enemy, terrorism. No longer were battles fought solely between nations. Non-state actors became significant players, leveraging fear and violence to pursue their political agendas. The horrific events of September 11, 2001 are a stark reminder of this new type of warfare. Alongside these challenges, the world faced another pressing issue, the struggle for resources. As nations developed, the demand for resources grew, leading to intense competition. Whether it was oil in the Middle East or rare earth elements in China, the scramble for resources became a defining feature of the post-Cold War era. This struggle has not only led to economic conflicts but also contributed to the exacerbation of environmental issues. Moreover, the rise of the digital age added another layer to these challenges. Cyber warfare and digital espionage became new fronts in international conflicts, with nations battling for control not just on land, sea and air, but also in the virtual world. Indeed, the post-Cold War world order was not just about the rise of a single superpower, it was also about the emergence of new challenges that continue to test the resilience and adaptability of nations. These challenges, from regional conflicts and terrorism to the struggle for resources and the advent of cyber warfare, have significantly shaped the world we live in today. These challenges, born out of the post-Cold War world order, continue to shape our world today. The Cold War might have ended, but its legacy still reverberates. How does it affect us today? The conclusion of the Cold War didn't just represent the end of a decades-long conflict, it fundamentally reshaped the world order, leaving an indelible mark on international relations and geopolitical issues that we still grapple with today. Let's consider the dissolution of the Soviet Union. This wasn't simply a victory for the West, it marked a seismic shift in global power structures. The void left by the USSR led to the emergence of newly independent states, many of which grappled with their newfound sovereignty. The struggle for power and identity in these regions has sparked conflicts and tensions that continue to this day. Then there's the United States. Left standing as the world's sole superpower, this led to a unipolar world order, where the US held unrivaled influence. Yet this power dynamic wasn't without its challenges. It prompted a rise in anti-American sentiment in some quarters and gave birth to a new era of global conflicts, often centered around differing ideologies and visions for the world. Moreover, the end of the Cold War saw the transformation of NATO from a defensive alliance into a more interventionist force. This shift has been a source of controversy, with debates about NATO's role and legitimacy continuing to be a hot topic in international relations. Lastly, we can't forget the symbolic fall of the Berlin Wall. This event not only marked the end of an era, but also set the stage for a reunified Germany. Today, Germany is a major player on the world stage. Its role and influence are a direct consequence of the post-Cold War restructuring. In essence, the end of the Cold War didn't just redraw the world's geopolitical map. It set in motion a series of events and trends that continue to shape our world today. From the rise of new powers and alliances to enduring regional conflicts and ideological battles, the legacy of the Cold War is far from a closed chapter. The legacy of the Cold War continues to shape our world, from international relations to regional conflicts. So, how can understanding the post-Cold War world order help you in your AP World History course? Well, let's dive into it. The post-Cold War era is a pivotal period in world history, a time when the geopolitical landscape underwent dramatic shifts. Understanding these changes is essential for a well-rounded comprehension of modern global affairs. Firstly, the knowledge of this era provides a valuable context for current events. When you read about NATO's involvement in international conflicts or the rise of new economic powers, you're witnessing the ongoing impact of the post-Cold War world order. Understanding the roots of these developments can help you make sense of today's global political and economic scenarios. Secondly, this understanding can be a powerful tool in answering exam questions. The College Board, which administers AP exams, often asks students to draw connections between historical events and present-day situations. For example, you might be asked to analyze how the dissolution of the Soviet Union affected the geopolitical balance of power, or how the United States' emergence as the sole superpower influenced international relations. In order to tackle such questions effectively, it's crucial to have a firm grasp on the events following the Cold War's end. make notes on key events like the fall of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the evolution of NATO. Understand their causes, their immediate effects, and their long-term implications. Thirdly, consider using this knowledge in your essays and short answers. A deep understanding of the post-Cold War world can provide a rich foundation for your arguments, showcasing your ability to draw meaningful connections across time periods and geographical boundaries. Finally, remember to actively engage with the material. Don't just passively read about these events, instead ask questions, seek out different perspectives, and strive to understand the complex dynamics at play. Remember, understanding the past is key to making sense of the present. Good luck with your AP World History studies.